Islam, Islam, Islamism. Bismillah, Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim. First and foremost, I'd like to rise to my highest of heights and give all perfect praise to our Father God Allah, acknowledging our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and all of our friends, visitors, guests, citizens, members, students, children. I greet you all with Islam. Today's date for the record is August 29th, 2021, according to the Gregorian calendar. And as always, on the onset of our calls, we pay homage to our Mother, Father, God, Allah. So can I please have everyone who is able to stand facing towards the east, subhanAllah. Can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. We definitely want to welcome you all to our national town hall educational forum call being brought to you by the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey. I am the moderator for this evening. I am Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bey, calling out of Lake County, Florida Republic, and I'll be going into our administrative announcements. Our first administrative announcement will be given by myself. On behalf of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, I would like to thank the guests that are on this Moorish National Town Hall meeting for joining us this evening. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, founded the ancient Canaanite temple in 1913 in Essex County, New Jersey. Later, in 1916, his missionary work was entitled the Moorish Divine and National Movement. In 1917, he transferred the movement to Cook County, Illinois. In 1925, the temple was called the Moorish Temple of Science. In 1926, the temple was incorporated as a civic organization. In 1927, the temple was unofficially adopted as the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, stated that the Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish Divine and National Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. After lawfully connecting with the private international law of the Pan American Conference in 1928, the temple's name was changed to the Moorish Science Temple of America. The temple was then incorporated as a religious organization under the Illinois Revised Statutes in Cook County, giving the temple and its members national and international power. During this same period of time, unfaithful members of the Moorish Science Temple of America in Chicago and Detroit conspired to destroy the positive existence of the movement, causing great confusion. This is the reason for the misunderstanding of the national side of the movement amongst all Moorish Americans until this very day. Our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, stated that Chicago is doomed and Detroit must go down for what they did to I, your prophet. Afterwards, in 1929, our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, made his transition to the plane of soul. Our purpose of establishing this meetings on Sundays is to properly educate people on what the Negro problem really is and to educate people concerning the national side of the movement of our prophet, Noble Jew Ali, so that you may receive a clear understanding of it. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali also stated, "Come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not negroes." In other words, all calling themselves negroes, black people, color folk, Afro-American, Latino, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, or any other such names that delude to slavery. You are not these. Your nationality has been taken away from you, and your birthrights have been stolen from you by way of your birth certificate, social security card, and your state ID/driver's license, which is why clear color copies, both front and back from these, is required from you when applying for Moorish American citizenship, as you transform from your lower self to your higher self while working towards your actual freedom and becoming free national Moorish American citizens. You have ignorantly contracted into the jurisdiction of the federal U.S. government corporation. Thus, your nationality is United States. You have surrendered your free national state citizenship by registering yourself voluntarily as a beneficiary of the U.S. government corporation by way of your birth certificate, which is an unrevealed trust account instrument placing you in commerce with the federal U.S. Federal U.S. citizens are not citizens at all. They are subjects and property under the District of Columbia, residents and franchisees of the so-called bankrupt U.S. government corporation under municipal law. The Constitution for the U.S.A., the Bill of Rights, and the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections does not apply to federal U.S. citizens. Federal U.S. citizens are subjects and property under statutory, admiralty, and maritime law, as well as martial law, under the undisclosed presumption of an international contract. Federal U.S. citizens have no constitutional protections or unalienable rights. They only have granted privileges by the U.S. government corporation. Legal persons born or naturalized in the federal U.S. were made exclusively by the 14th Amendment after the Civil War. The 14th Amendment was never lawfully ratified and therefore unconstitutional. Our prophet Noble Jew Ali held up the red flag with the five-pointed green star in the center in his right hand. This is our national flag. It is poorly misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. It is properly comprehended as the Moorish flag. He also held up the 48-star flag of the U.S.A. in his left hand. This is our flag of peace, friendship, and commerce within the states of the Union under the Republican form of government in this country. The 50-star flag of the U.S. with gold fringes around it does not represent free national Moorish American citizens. Social Security benefits and the income tax are voluntary contracts made mandatory for federal government employees and U.S. citizens who receive benefits from the federal government corporation. Asiatics are the aboriginal indigenous inhabitants of America. However, due to the fact that the Asiatics' birthrights have been stolen and we have fallen from the constitutional laws of the government being placed in a chattel property status because of the reorganization of the U.S. with the New Deal in 1933, the Asiatics are now aliens, not to this country, but to all free national governments. We encourage everyone to become a naturalized Moor and register with the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics in order to become part and parcel of this free national government. In this way, you are under the divine authority of our honorable prophet, Noble Jew Ali, being under the jurisdiction of the Emancipation Proclamations of President Abraham Lincoln, inclusive of the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections, and not under federal jurisdiction, making your identity and your nationality Moorish American. The bankruptcy of the United States is a fraud. The Uniform Commercial Codes administers this fraudulent bankruptcy. So those who undergo the UCC 1 financing statement and its further paperwork applications become a party to this fraud and disconnect themselves from the divine authority of our honorable prophet Noble Jew Ali, which is a conspiracy of the international banking cartel against us Moorish Americans. Also, having a seat in the United Nations is a trap. This places you under the controls of the cartels of Europe as well. Furthermore, a government that is a democracy is a trick, because this type of government is not of the common people, for the common people, nor by the common people. Educating the masses on these issues in order for the Asiatics to become functionally active is of the utmost importance for the progress and growth of the Moorish Divine and National Movement. For more information, visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. During this meeting, we would like our guests to remain muted if you are not speaking. This will prevent background noise coming from you as these calls are being recorded. When you want to speak, press the star button twice to unmute your phone and state your name and where you're calling from. You may submit your questions to our email, townhall@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. So your questions will be answered in the order in which they are received, as the email questions supersede direct questions from the audience. We would like our guests to continue to attend these meetings, and please invite your family members, associates, and friends to attend these meetings. And that will conclude our first administrative announcement. Our next administrative announcement will be coming from our National Sunday School conference call, Islam, and it'll be given by our Deputy Sheikess, Ariana Sanders Bay. Islam, beloved, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, beloved, loud and clear, you have the floor.
Islam, this is Deputy Sheik's sister, Ariana Sanders Bay, calling from the Florida Republic. First, I would like to rise to my highest height, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God, Allah, and giving honors to all the true and divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I would like to remain standing and extend those honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bay, all national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikesses, and to all that are on the call. Islam. The Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, expects the presence of all members and invites the public to join us every Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our Moorish Sunday Class conference call. Please join us by calling 443-961-4434. All Moors currently naturalized to the Moorish American National Republic and who have not already done so are requested to forward an email to manrsundayschool@gmail.com. This will confirm your registration and allow you to receive your information packet. Please include the names of all children, their ages, birthdays, and school grades. Also, we are requesting that members send us family pictures for posting on our website, pictures of Moorish families studying, playing, working, etc., and in unity. This is highly desirable. Please be advised that submission of your photo constitutes your permission to post. To submit your photo, send via email to sundayschool@moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. Again, the Moorish American National Republic Sunday School conference call is at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we invite the public to please join us by calling 443-961-4434. We had an exciting and incredible class today. You can listen to today's class at www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. We look forward to exercising our five senses together with you, manifesting guidance for our nation, Islam, and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, our Deputy Sheikess, Ariana Sanders Bay. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Moorish School and Law History Board of Education, and it'll be given by Administrative Assistant, Deputy Sheikess Carla Green-Ill. Islam there, beloved, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam.
Islam, your vibrations are strong, you're loud and clear, trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Islam, and thank you, Brother Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam family, this is your sister, Deputy Sheikess Carla Green-Ill from the Massachusetts Commonwealth. I rise to my highest heights and give all perfect praises to Allah. I give honors to our ancestors, known and unknown, recognizing and naming all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and the last prophet, In these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali, in his first, second, and third form, is sending honors to our National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bey, all of our national and local officials, all sheikhs, sheikesses, deputy sheikhs, deputy sheikesses, all of our children, students, members, guests, and citizens. I greet you all with Islam. Please remain muted for this very important announcement. Peace and greetings. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, requires from everyone desiring to proclaim their Moorish American nationality to fill out and complete an application for Moorish American citizenship and 3-course registration forms for each of the Moorish law and history courses, which I'll explain later. Many people question, why do we have to fill out paperwork and submit copies of our personal documents? This is the reason. We must know who you are, your background, previous affiliations, work history, physical abilities, education, skills, training, etc. First of all, these documents do not belong to you. They belong to the federal government. But you must remember that in their jurisdiction, you are an artificial corporation under civil rights and granted privileges. Secondly, we require these documents because once you are a free national Moorish American citizen, your file will be in the Moorish National Bureau of Vital Statistics, which is set up for each natural person. These Moorish documents that you'll be receiving at the time of your naturalization are prepared from these documents. The most important page in the application is the self-audit page. This allows you to make sure you know the appropriate attire to wear during naturalization and are submitting the required documents, fees, and photos. The documents must be clear-colored copies for clarity and authenticity. The photos must be passport size. We use the photos for your nationality and ID card. Please have your national and religious headdress on and write your name on the back of the photos. The application process is reviewed each week because applications are received in the National Registrar's Office either with incomplete applications, no photos, or no documents. If a question on the application does not apply to you, place N/A, not applicable. This lets us know that you did read the question but did not omit it. We must read and follow instructions and learn to ask questions if we do not comprehend what is being said. The second part of the process is enrolling into the Moorish School of Law and History by registering for the 3 courses with the following completed forms. 1. A warning from the Prophet class form. 2. Be it known class form. 3. Nationality and ID card class form. 4. Course rules and agreement form. Visit our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, and download the application and registration forms. These forms will have the full instructions, requirements, and prerequisites for the classes. Also, mail with your application an updated copy of your resume. You are not paying for your nationality. Your nationality is free of charge. You are paying for the cost of enrolling in the Moorish School of Law and History, just as one pays tuition when enrolling into a college or a university. The costs are also directed to the application processes of the preparation of your documents, as you'll receive these once you've completed the courses. It takes finances to raise a nation, and it takes finances to maintain and operate an educational forum. This concludes the administrative announcement by way of the Moorish School of Law and History. I return the floor to the moderator. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement. Our administrative assistant, Deputy Sheikh Carla Green Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikh Michael Simpson L. Jr. with our warning. Islam, there, beloved, you can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam, there, Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bay. Can you hear me?
Islam Deputy Sheikh Michael Simpson L. Jr. I can hear you loud and clear. Vibrations is strong. Trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
All is truly well with me and the family. All is truly well with you and the family.
Indeed, giving thanks, beloved, you have the floor.
Thank you much, and it's always good to hear your vibrations, Deputy Sheikh. Much honor and gratitude. Deputy Sheikh Michael Simpson L. Jr., calling out of Wayne County, Michigan Republic. First, I'd like to rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to the great God Allah, to all our ancestors, spoken and unspoken, naming and honoring our true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our last prophet in these days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, our great Redeemer, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. Also, I'd like to extend those honors to our headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, Temple number 13, our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bay, to all our national officials, sheiks, sheikesses, deputy sheiks, and deputy sheikesses, and to all our family, friends, guests, citizens, members, students, and our illustrious future, our children, I greet you all with Islam. This administrative announcement is coming by way of our Sergeant at Arms Administration. Warning, if any person, groups, or companies claiming to represent the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, in any way are offered to sell you such things as the application for Moorish American citizenship, naturalization paperwork, nationalization paperwork, trust documents with the Moorish American National Republic's logos, passports, diplomatic appointments, diplomatic papers, diplomatic motor vehicle license plates, driver's licenses, titles of nobility, doctorates or other educational titles, business banking licenses, tax shelters, tax identification cards, or the likeness of any of these, please contact the Moorish National Bureau of Investigation at area code 410-501-7301. I repeat, area code 410-501-7301. Immediately, violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. The members in the grand body of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic are not sovereign citizens, nor Moorish nationals. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic is not, I repeat, is not a sovereign citizens movement. This administrative announcement comes by way of our Solicitor General, National Grand Sheikh, Joel Bratton Bay. And that concludes the reading of this administrative announcement. Islam, there, Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bay. The floor is yours. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, our Deputy Sheikh Michael Simpson L. Jr. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcement will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikh is Alyssa Thomas Bay with our caveat emptor. Islam, there, beloved, you can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam Deputy Sheikh, all is well?
Islam Deputy Sheikh is Alyssa Thomas Bay. All is truly well. It's always a pleasure to hear your vibrations. You're loud and clear, trusting all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Islam, giving thanks, Deputy Sheikh. Pardon background noise. Islam, this is Deputy Sheikh Alyssa Thomas Bay. First, I'd like to rise. I give all perfect praises to Allah, all of the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, our prophet in these days and time, Prophet Noble Drew Ali, and his first, second, and third form, our National Grand Sheikh Joe Bratton Bay, all of our national officials, all of our sheikh, sheikesses, deputy sheikhs, deputy sheikesses, members, citizens, students, and guests, I greet you all with Islam. Notice to the public, let the buyer beware. Caveat emptor, Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It is therefore folly at its greatest height, or smelly culprits with their insidious plans to invade such realm. They try, but their own bad planning brings down wrath upon their heads, like the sword old Damocles had. Intrigue and skirtless cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has been well planned by Prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. Prophet Noble Drew Ali knows the people within his ranks who are interested. They are vanguard of the movement as the Moorish hordes increase here in America. All of the Moors are active, not passive. A member's interest can only be in one direction, and having traveled over the road years before the Prophet knows where every member is along the road. A few feet below is another road where schemers walk, where traders grin, and culprits bask in the sun. They think they're on the same road with the true Moors, but the Moors are high above on a pinnacle where they might view the destructionists as they fall for the last time and their bones bleach in the sultry midday sun. Hungry scavengers flying high catch scent, devour, and leave crying out, caveat emptor, cast out the dead carcass. The Moors high above see these plotters, pervious, the worst that exists, hurl themselves downward by their own works as the hawks await. By Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, advises the public with the words written by the morning by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The caveat emptor article message is the same today in 2021 as when written in 1928. We have been contacted by various natural persons who have sent funds to individuals and organizations, said funds paying for various documents. Said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Be here and advised, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, does not sell documents of any type. Again, we do not sell documents. Again, be here and notified that said individuals and organizations have no affiliation with our organization, the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic. Some of said organizations have mirrored names, which read closely to ours. Therefore, pay close attention to whom it is you are sending your funds. As the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, Moorish American National Republic, carries no liability for funds sent to these individuals and organizations. There may be others, yet the three I'm about to list have repeatedly been cited by those natural persons as the parties to whom funds were sent on the guise of sending said funds to our organization. 1. R.V. Bay Publications. 2. The Moorish National Republic, the federal government, the Moorish Divine and National Movement of the World, the Moorish Science Temple of America, and 3. Bureau of Moorish Affairs, Moorish State University. We will update this list as necessary. Trustly that public is advised, let the buyer beware. That concludes my administrative announcement. I say Islam and peace, and I turn the floor to the moderator.
Islam. And thank you for that administrative announcement, our Deputy Sheikess Alyssa Thomas Bay. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. Our next administrative announcements will be coming by way of our Deputy Sheikess Norma Solomon Ill with our National Holy Night Conference Call meeting and our Sisters Auxiliary. Islam there, beloved. You can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam, can you hear me?
Islam Deputy Speaker Norma Solomon Hill. I can hear you loud and clear. Trust that all is well with you and the family, and you have the floor.
Islam, praise Allah, my good brother Deputy Sheik, Cornelia Sanders Bay. All is truly well. Let us know all is truly well with you, and as well as all of the announcers for Islam. Islam to the family. This is your sister, Deputy Sheikis, Norma Solomon Ill, calling out of the Bronx County in the New York Republic. First and foremost, I rise to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise and highest honor to Allah, the Mother, Father, God of the universe. I give honor to all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and to high honors, the highest of honors, to our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Jew Ali, in his first, second, and third form. I remain standing, giving honor to our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, to all of our officials, both national and local, to our sheikesses, our sheiks, our deputy sheikesses, to our deputy sheiks, to all of our citizens, members, students, children, and any guests that may be on the call this evening, I greet all in and with Islam. The first administrative announcement I have to give is coming by way of our National Holy Night Conference Call. Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Islam, all Muslims. The public is invited to join our National Holy Night Conference Call Friday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. If you live in an area without a temple, or you are unable to attend your local Holy Night meeting, our National Holy Night Conference Call is here for you. We invite the public and all members to join our Holy Night Conference Call at 443-961-4434 every Friday as we celebrate the closing of one creation and the opening of the next. Come give thanks to your creatress, creator, and exercise your five senses, celebrating and commemorating the divine unity of Holy Night. 443-961-4434 every Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. See you at our Holy Night meeting. The next administrative announcement is coming by way of our sister auxiliary, Islam. The Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America, Inc., number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is delighted to announce our upcoming conference call dedicated to the uplift of Moabitist members of this divine and national movement under the leadership of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey, and the nobles of our grand body. Our conference call's purpose is to create a network system amongst our feminine energy, showcasing the array of talents we, the sisters in this body, have to offer. We are calling on every sister in our organization to heed this call, partake in this uplifting act, and be an active spoke in the wheel of this Moorish Republic. Come and familiarize yourself with your sisters and reap the benefits of membership of this national body that is committed to bring about the positive change necessary to facilitate the uplifting of fallen humanity. We encourage our sisters to get involved and support this demonstration. The Moorish American National Republic Sisters Auxiliary is requesting the help and support of all our brothers and sisters to donate to our fundraising Life Pin and Tag Day celebration demonstrations. Show pride in your movement and support the Sisters Auxiliary as we assist in the uplifting of fallen humanity by donating $1 for a life pin, $3 for a tag, and $5 for a magnet. All three are designed to inspire, unite, and encourage dialogue about this great movement and our illustrious Hebrew prophet, Noble Drew Ali. This Moorish regalia can be viewed on our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com. If interested in joining the Sister Auxiliaries or any member wishing to order regalia, you can send an email to sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. That's sisterauxiliary13@gmail.com. Please make note of your request in the subject line, whether it is membership, life pins, tags, or magnets. Please leave your contact information, including your email address and phone number. Our next Sister Auxiliary meeting will be held on September the 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's a Thursday evening, as all our Sister Auxiliary meetings are held the fourth Thursday of each month. That concludes the administrative announcements that I have to give. I'm going to turn the floor back over to you, my good brother, Deputy Sheikh Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam and peace.
Islam. And thank you for those administrative announcements. Our Deputy Sheikh is Norma Solomon Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, you can press star, and you have the floor.
Islam?
Islam, who's speaking?
Islam's National Coordinator, Deputy Sheikh Brother Roy Bay. Islam?
Islam, Deputy Sheikh. Pardon self, I couldn't catch your voice, but that's my fault. You have the floor.
Thanks a lot, my good brother. First, I'll quickly rise to my highest heights, give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, who is almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, the universal governor of this world seen and worlds that are unseen. I give honor to John the Harbinger, also known to us as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, both harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I give honor to all you Moors on the call, our National Grand Sheikh. I extend those honors to the second and third form. Real quick, brothers and sisters, any of you Moors who are located in the Texas Republic, specifically Dallas, Texas, and the Texas Republic, there will be a demonstration taking place between October 29th to the 31st. If any of you are choosing to be in attendance in that particular republic or the surrounding republic area, please be sure to contact me through the website, and so we can arrange for that to take place. I'll be making this announcement about 2 or 3 more times leading up to that day. 2 or 3 more times leading up to that day. Any brothers and sisters in this organization that's in the Texas Republic, specifically Dallas, Texas, but also not limited to, but the surrounding areas of those republics, who can be in attendance between October 29th to the 31st, please contact me through the website. We'll be out there. Islam. Thank you, brother. Thank you much, Cornelius Sanders Bay. Islam.
Islam, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay. Appreciate you much for that announcement. Islam. At this time, if there's any announcements from any of our national officials, you can press star, and you have the floor. Islam. Well, we don't have any more administrative announcements, so we can get into these questions and get some dialogue going. At this moment, the time is 8:11 p.m., and we have a total of 36 lines on the call. We'd like to thank you all for your presence and your energies, because you could have been anywhere this evening, but you're here with us, and we definitely appreciate you. And we're going to get into these thought-provoking questions and get some dialogue going and get these questions answered. Islam. Our first question on the floor this evening reads, are Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Islam, you can press star, state your name and where you're calling from. Are Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Islam? Islam. Well, we're trying to get some kind of dialogue going, my good people. Are Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Islam? The question is, are Moroccan-born, so if they're born in Morocco, Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Well, I'm trying to figure out, well, why would non-Asiatic individuals be considered Moors?
Islam?
Islam, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey, you have the floor.
All right, thanks, brother. Listen, I'm kind of talking a little fast. I'm driving right now. We got driving in a car. But I rise to my highest heights again. Give praise to Allah, the great God of the universe, who is almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, the universal governor of this world seen and worlds that are unseen. I give honors to John the Harbinger, also known to us as the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, both harbinger and forerunner to the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. I give honors to all true and divine prophets, naming Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius. I give honors once again to all the Asiatic Muslims on the call. I extend those honors to our national officials, our executive body, headquarters out of Baltimore, Maryland, our National Grand Sheikh, Brother Joe Bratton Bay. I extend those honors to the second and third form as well. Are they Moors? Well, they're not really connected per se, in my judgment, to our genealogy with regard to our bloodline. I do not believe the people who are residing today in Morocco are connected to Ruth the Moabitess and that illustrious history. They're not so much connected to the land of Moab. They don't see themselves as Moors. They see themselves as contemporary modern-day Moroccans. We have some things in common with regard to the word, but the word Moor is very tricky at times as to who a Moor is and historically and modernly, because you got to put some of this stuff in context. It's almost like saying who's a Berber and who's a Moor. Again, you got to put it in context, and this is where the Moorish identity becomes somewhat sensitive or delicate if you don't understand the time frame in which we're talking about. We are descendants of ancient Moroccans born in America, no doubt, just like the folks over today in Egypt who are mainly Arab Muslims, pale-skinned Arab Muslims. But they're not the true Egyptians or the Kemites or the Tamarines, So if you look at it today, I can see where someone may say, yeah, those are Moors too because they're born and raised in Morocco. So I can see where there's a little bit of curiosity and maybe some confusion that may kick in. But a lot of people today in the world are bearing false identities. Even us here in America who are styled as Negroes, blacks, coloreds, Afro-American, African-American, these are all false identities. So as far as I'm concerned, they're not who we are. There's a close relation there because of the words, the landmass, and our flags. They look alike. But as far as I'm concerned, they're not who we are. And if you ask the majority of them if they have any relationship with us, they will say to some extent, the smarter ones of them, but when it comes time to the come time, and, we got to come with some facts on things, they will probably say no. They will probably say, not all of them, but, there's a percentage of them. So are they Moors like us? We come from the ancient royal bloodline. These individuals today who are residing in most of these countries abroad, they came in by way of war and conquest, and they took our homelands. between the Greeks, the Romans, and the Arabs. So I do not regard them as a Moor as I see myself. I just personally do not. Do they respect my prophet, Noble Drew Ali? They may acknowledge him in certain venues, but I do not think most of these people out here who consider themselves to be Muslims who say Assalamu alaikum, I do not think they have the same reverence for Prophet Noble Drew Ali as I do. So that right there would cause a disconnect with me toward them. They don't recognize my prophet as being who he is. So, no, I have no real relation with them. And most people today are trying to get away from however we are classified, even as Moors, because it's about money and politics as well. When people start to see you doing good and you're doing well, everybody wants to be around you and be your friend and claim they have something in common with you. Look at the Queen of England. She claimed that she was a direct descendant of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. See? But I know that to be a contradiction and a false statement made. But them people today over there, we have to not get so confused. Everyone that look like us is not really us. That's just the way it really is in the real world. We go into these stores with these Arabs, and they say, Assalamu alaikum, my key, and all that crap, but they don't see us as brothers and sisters. They hate our men. They want to sex and rape our women, So, no, everyone that's kinfolk ain't kinfolk. And as far as I'm concerned, if I was to see a Moroccan today, I would give some respect. I wouldn't be disrespectful, but I do not see a Moroccan who was born in Morocco 30 years ago as I would see one of you brothers and sisters on the call tonight. And that's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, we may have some type of relation there, but no, we are not one and the same. And the relation that we would have with Morocco was a political one, not one predicated on genealogy and bloodline. Islam, I yield the floor.
Islam, and appreciate you for getting the ball started and get us rolling. Our Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey, appreciate you much, beloved, for that demonstration. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam. This is Brother Peterson L. calling out Massachusetts Commonwealth, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praises. I'm going to camel back off of Brother Roy Bey's comment. The question to me really is a state of opinion, depending on who you're talking to, because you could be talking to a Moroccan that actually knows the history, or you could be talking to a Moroccan who actually has no connection to the history. So, and when we use terms like Arab and things like that, those terms are dependent on who you're talking to or what region you're at or where you're at in the world, are usually connected to a nomadic term of being a Arab per se. So that question to me will be more of a state of opinion, and I yield the floor with that. Islam?
Islam. And thank you for your commentary and demonstration, Brother Sean Peterson Ill. Appreciate you much, beloved. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press **, state your name and where you're calling from. The brothers has been given a beautiful demonstrations thus far, and definitely the question, are Moroccan-born non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? And when I look at the question, I see that are Moroccan-born, when it says Moroccan-born non-Asiatics, so if you're a non-Asiatic, you can't be considered a Moor because it's only two races subdivided into two. It's only one race, one human race subdivided into two. It's either you're Asiatic or you're European. That's it. So when it says are Moroccan-born non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors, the question is kind of broad because a non-Asiatic being born in Morocco doesn't make them a Moor.
Islam.
Islam?
Islam, beloved. I was trying to come in. I didn't know if you could hear me.
Oh, no, I couldn't hear you at all, Sheik. You have the floor.
Okay, Islam. Appreciate you, beloved Deputy Sheikh Sanders Bay. Islam Morris, this is your good brother, Sheikh Isaiah Orton Bay, calling out the Wayne County, Michigan Republic, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother, Father God of the universe, whom we Moors refer to as Allah, giving all honors to our ancestors known and unknown, naming, recognizing all true and divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, Confucius, our last prophet in these last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, noble Jew Allah, in his first, second, and third form, remaining standing and extending those honors to our national officials at headquarters in Baltimore, Maryland, under the guidance and direction of our National Grand Sheikh, Joe Bratton Bey. Islam, all honors to our staff, staff of a Moorish School in Law History, national officials, citizens, members, family, friends, and associates. Islam. All right, real quick, Brother Sanders Bey, the questioner said they're Moroccan born and they're not an Asiatic.
The question reads, are Moroccan-born non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Islam?
Islam. All right, just to come back off our deputy sheet, Roy Bay. Again, what's key for us is our prophet brought us our family. He returned us back to that human family which we was disconnected from. And I'm going to go excuse me, to the Holy Quran, chapter 45, the divine origins of the Asiatic nations. All right. So I'm going to start with verse 2. The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. The Moorish, who were the ancient Moabites and the founders of the holy city of Mecca. The Egyptians, who were the Hamites and of a direct descendant of Mizraim. The Arabians, the seed of Hagar, Japanese, and Chinese. All right, I'll go through the whole thing. The Hindus of India, the descendants of the ancient Canaanites, Hittites, and Moabites from the land of Canaan. The Asiatic nations and countries in North, South, and Central America. The Moorish Americans and the Mexicans in North America. Brazilian, Argentinians, and Chileans in South America. Colombians, Nicaraguans, and the natives of San Salvador and Central America, etc. All of these are Muslims. The Turks are the true descendants of Hagar, who are the chief protectors of the Islamic creed of Mecca, beginning from Muhammad the first, the founder of the Uniting of Islam, by the command of the great universal God. So with that being stated, having that primary foundation to build our blocks upon, our knowledge, we have to know and understand when we're talking about the Moroccans of today and the modern day, those who are saying that they didn't lose their nationality, Moroccan born, as our questioner stated, we still have to understand the history. Majority, 95, 97% of the Moroccans of today that's over there in the East in Morocco are French Moroccans. However, man's descent nature does not change, as our prophet shares with us in chapter 45. All right? The key of civilization was and is in the hands of the Asiatic nations. All right? So our distant relatives, our cousins, the Moroccans, remember Moors, in later years, as our prophet teaches, we went east and formed kingdoms. These kingdoms of today, Tripoli, Algiers, Morocco, all right? All this came from the empire. Remember, Moors, we were traveling eastward. We was coming from the west. We was coming from here, going eastward to establish those kingdoms. Remember, the cradle of civilization is here in the Americas. You want to see where life began? Look at your plants. Where are some of your tallest ferns and your tallest trees produced at? You got to go to the Pacific coast. All right? Some information I came across, a brother, they did a DNA test on them. and from Louisiana. And his blood, when they checked it, went back 30 million years. All right. So our prophet is giving us a bullet point. So when we're talking about the Moroccans of today, by birthright, no. However, they are part of the family. When we understand the history, all right, Moors, our blood flows through everybody's veins. But to say that they're Moorish Americans, as the person identified, they're not Asiatic. But there's a missing piece there. The key of civilization was in the hands of the Asiatics nations. And we got a list of those nations. So, again, just get a better understanding of who we are historically, because, again, a lot of the information that's being presented to us, again, displacements have taken place. We have been removed from Egypt. We have been removed from Morocco. So you don't really see us there. Right now, what do you see? That colonization that has taken place. Remember, our prophet brought our flag back to us in 1913. Remember, Morocco didn't gain its independence from France until 1956. Hence why you see the gold fringes around their national flag. You don't see the gold fringes around our Moorish flag, which is misunderstood as the flag of Morocco. But again, Morocco is the kingdom. The empire is the Moorish Empire. So with that, I just share that little tad bit. The brothers definitely already hit on the point, but just wanted to bring in some of the prophets' literature to the floor so we can build upon that. Islam, appreciate you, Deputy Sheik. You got it.
Islam, appreciate you much for that beautiful demonstration and definitely bringing our prophet to the forefront as always. And at this time, the first question has been satisfied. So we'll be moving on to our second question on the floor this evening. Islam. Our next question reads, if no one is a true citizen because now under the 14th Amendment, why is it that blacks must be naturalized back into the government in order to reclaim their true nationality and be recognized as a part of the human family? Whites were also slaves at one point in history of this country. Why are they automatically recognized as retaining their nationality as Americans? Islam, you can press star, star, state your name and where you're calling from. We have a two-part question. If no one is a true citizen because they are now under the 14th Amendment, why is it that blacks must be naturalized back into the government in order to reclaim their true nationality and be recognized as a part of the human family? Whites were also slaves at one point in the history of this country. Why are they automatically recognized as retaining their nationality as Americans? Islam, is that Deputy Sheik Roy Bay?
Yes, brother Deputy Chief Roy, be real gracefully right up to my highest heights. Giving praise to Allah and all that pertain to Islamism. Well, I'll say this much. You know, the Civil War changed a lot of things. You know, that really how can I say? It was the era in time in American history. Wait, I have to leave this restaurant. Hold on 1 second. Hey, Norma. So I'm going to go outside and answer this question or call. The stuff is over here. Hold on 1 second. Let me step outside. So the Civil War changed a lot of things. And this is the first time in American history where we saw a noble effort where the United States of America put forth a strong foot to work toward an egalitarian society. We have to, again, try to put some of this in context because there was the evolution of the Constitution once more, which I would like to call the second founding. These states who tried to secede from the Union, they came back in. Well, they didn't come back in, but according to Thaddeus Stevens, they was looked at as what they call conquered provinces. So they had no constitutional standing. The Prophet Noble Jolly talks about that in the Divine Warning, 1928, that editorial. So to come back into the government after the Civil War, the oath of amnesty and reconstruction had to be taken. Okay, and this was like the New Deal of the day, going back to the 19th century. This was like the New Deal of the day. So the oath of amnesty and reconstruction is what brought everyone back into the fold, so they can be constitutionally in alignment with the laws that govern the events. Now, the so-called white folks who are classified as Americans, National Grand Sheik Brother Bratton Day has said it, and we've all followed suit. The 14th Article of Amendment made niggers out of everybody. So these so-called white folks are not true citizens either, because they're classified and styled as Americans or white Americans. You know, the game was being played on them too as well. They too fell victim to John A. Binghamton's construction of the 14th Article of Amendment, who came out of Ohio. You see? So we have to take into account that there's a lot of what we would call quasi-citizens here. Quasi-citizens. And these are individuals who look to be Americans based on geopolitics, where they're at. You know, they appear to be doing what most Americans do. But a lot of what people are doing in this country today under the Reconstruction Amendments, which, as we know, the Supreme Court said October 15th, 1883, that was all null and void, you know. So what they're doing today, they're doing it under the granted privilege demonstration, okay? However, naturalization process, you know, we have to look at the fact that the U.S. Constitution really only recognizes natural citizens, you know, and we are one of the only Moorish groups in the country who is teaching that fundamental principle with regard to the laws that govern the events here. And if you're not natural, we all know the drill. Anything to the contrary is artificial. When we was growing up in the hood, we all wanted to have real clothing attire, real Michael Jordan sneakers, real jeans, real coats, real jackets. And if the patch on your clothing could easily come off, we classify that as being fake or artificial. But that's the same thing it is here with all the people who are supposed citizens in this country. Because citizenship, this is how you get your voice in the government, you know? And, hold on, we had to become fully a part of we the people. And we became that, you know, well, I can't even say we became that, so even that too is the fact of the 15th Article Amendment, that was supposed to have to give us a voting right. But we all know the story with the 15th Article of Amendment as well. But how you become a part of the quote-unquote we the people and a citizen, voting rights are important. How you come back into the government post-1865 is important, you know, and this is how you become de jure. But naturalization is very key. I don't support nationalization because we know what that's all about with regard to land. You know, big bank take little bank. The big government comes on in as a corporation, takes over all the smaller markets. Big bank take a little bank. So, you know, it would behoove us to strive toward naturalization, so then we ain't got to be the straw man or the tin man, those entities that came out of the Wizard of Oz. So I'm just going to leave it at that because I'm still out here in the run right now. And so I yield the floor. Islam.
Islam. And appreciate you for that beautiful demonstration, Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone, Islam, my good brother, hold the line. If there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to, the floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from. Islam?
Islam. Brother St. Peterson L. Stepping up again out of Massachusetts Republic, rising to my highest of heights. I'm going to leave it short and sweet. For the first question, there's a two-part question. Islam? Islam?
Islam, Mo. Would you like for me to read the question?
You said it was a two-part question. No, you don't have to read. You said it was a two-part question.
Yes,
right?
I did. Yes, I did.
Islam. For the first part, you mentioned the so-called blacks, or the so-called blacks. For the first part of that question, it sounds to me they got hit with a double whammy. They were already stripped of their nationality, 1774, and they also got stuck under the 14th Amendment. Now, for the so-called whites, although they weren't stripped of their nationalities and they didn't take the oath to be naturalized, they also got hit with a whammy and got stuck under the 14th Amendment as well. So I just want to get that two-part question out real simple and sweet, if that helps. Islam?
Islam, there, my good brothers. Does that conclude your demonstration?
That concludes my demonstration, good brother.
Islam. Appreciate you. Islam. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to what has already been stated, the floor is now open. You can press star, state your name and where you're calling from. If no one is a true citizen because they are now under the 14th Amendment, why is it that blacks must be naturalized into the government in order to reclaim their true nationality and be recognized as a part of the human family? Whites were also slaves at one point in history of this country. Why are they automatically recognized as retaining their nationality as Americans? Islam?
Islam.
Sheikh, you have the floor.
Islam, appreciate you, beloved. Islam Morris, your good brother, Isaiah Orden Bay, Sheikh, rising to my highest heights, giving all perfect praise to our Mother God of the universe, whom we Morris refer to as Allah, remaining standing, extending those honors to our last prophet in these, the last days and times, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the honorable prophet, noble Jew Allah, first, second, and third form, Islam. All right, so let me see. Where do I want to go with this question? No one is going to choose it. All right, Islam. So I'm going to go this way. Well, first and foremost, we got to focus on our issue. That's why Prophet Noble Jew Ali is the man of the hour. He's the only one on this planet that came to address our concerns. So not to play the black or the white game, but understanding what happened to us. All right, even before the European came on this planet, we was already fallen from grace. All right, so there has been covenants that has been established. Hence, honor thy mother and thy father, and thy days will be lengthened on the earth plan. All right, so it's the focus shouldn't be on whites were slaves as well, because we have to understand this term that we're utilizing, white, didn't always exist as an identification for people. These are statuses. All right, there's no black people, there's no white people. Why must we naturalize? We must naturalize due to the fact that we accepted these brands and these diluted names that pertain to slavery. We didn't have to, we accepted it, and we passed it down from generation to generation. Again, violating our covenant. So our focus is getting ourselves right. How do we get ourselves right? Well, we have to return the church and Christianity back to the European. That's also the European psychology, the whole mind state. So let's get back into the history of why we have to naturalize. There was a civil war. We can't escape that, Moors. It took place. It was a domestic war. It's history pertaining to it. So Prophet Noble Jew Ali, being the genius citizen that he was, he connected us back to the scene of the crime, 1779 until 1865. All right? So now that we learning about these national laws, now that we learning about our historical content, now we have to incorporate this law in history, all right, to enforce the law to save this nation. we must naturalize again because we are the only people on this planet that don't know our nationality and is not recognized according to our nationality or our genealogy, our bloodline. We are the only people that don't know our nationality. Try it out for yourself, Moors. When you see a pale-skinned nation of Europe walking past, say, excuse me, can I ask you a quick question? See, what's your nationality? See how long it takes for them to get your answer. They're not going to say, I'm what? They're going to say, well, I'm kind of mixed. I'm a mutt. They'll say something like that because they know. All right? So we have to naturalize because naturalization and law deals with what? Our classification, our identification, and our status as citizens. This is also part of the executive will of Abraham Lincoln. So it's coming upon us to understand what our issue and what our concerns are so we can rectify that error. We getting tired of the oppression. We don't want to take your shots. We don't have anything to do with you because the Creator, Mother Nature, Father Allah, has given us everything we need to sustain ourselves. So again, let's see, what's the second part of that question, good brother Deputy Sheik? The whites were slaves too.
Islam. The second part of the question goes, whites were also slaves at one point in the history of this country. Why are they automatically recognized as retaining their nationality as Americans? Islam?
Islam. All right. Again, history, you have to understand the error has been placed upon you. As we stated, white and black are statuses. What has happened is a stolen legacy has taken place. Your birthrights have been stolen. There are people masquerading and parading around with your rights. Why? Because how they're classified and identified. So I know a national grant she could touch base on it. I actually forgot what it was, but it's a demonstration. I know he probably touched bases on it, but they was actually speaking about when this term white came into play and when the Europeans started to adopt these names. All right, because you got to think about it. When you go back to that Civil War time, they Irish, they Germans, they look like that. Check out this show on AMC called Hell on Wheels. When they working after the Civil War and they working on the railroads, you will see it. You see the Asiatics there. You see the dirty Irishmen there. You see the dirty Frenchmen over there. You see the dirty Germans over there, all working side by side. But to create that division, all right, that status had to be placed upon you because you have the rights to the land. Why? You have dominion. That's ownership. But without your name, your free national name and principle, you don't have no true wealth. We can't tap into that. So this is why it's important for us to naturalize, come back under the constitutional fold so we can have a voice to deal with the affairs of man. We can stay black all day, but we're not going to go nowhere with that. Keep on looking at the court cases that's going to continue to come. Keep on looking at your Facebook threads with the police with their knees on your neck. This is what we're going to continue to see as our prophet has already warned us. They're going to bestow upon us whatever they feel like. Why? Because they're going by the law. And what's that law? A Negro beast in the image of God. A black man has no rights that a white man is bound to respect. So this is why why it's so important for us to understand these laws, go through this process so we can come back in grace and divine order with our laws that came by way of our ancestors and our God. This is how we start to correct the issue. So don't focus about the black and white situation because that's neither here or there. We have to go through this process to show our covenant, show our part of upholding that covenant because our God is a covenant keeping God. So I just wanted to share that. Put that on the floor. Giving the floor right back to you, my good brother. Islam, Deputy Sheik. You got it.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on, Sheikh Orton Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam. At this time, if there's anyone who has any questions, comments, concerns, or anyone that would like to add on to, the floor is now open. You can press star star, state your name and where you're calling from. Got some beautiful demonstrations. And at this time, if there's not going to be any other demonstrations, I'll move on to our third and final question on the floor this evening. And so it will be. Our third and final question on the board reads, being that the Moorish American National Republic is a government, and once it reaches the number required to have a seat in the government and recognized back into this said government, shouldn't this government be entitled to compensation under the 1320 as well as reparations, being that it is a nation and reparations is nation to nation, or is compensation the only goal we should be thinking of? Islam, you can press star star, state your name and where you're calling from. Again, being that the Moorish American National Republic is a government, and once it reaches the number required to have a seat in the government and recognized back into this said government, shouldn't this government be entitled to compensation under the 1320 as well as reparations, being that it is a nation and reparations is nation to nation, or is compensation the only goal we should be thinking of? Islam? So definitely a pointed question. And I mean, just looking at the question and and looking at it, definitely say you know, what we should be thinking of. I don't think we should be thinking of anything. Islam? Did someone say
Yeah, it's fine, brother.
Islam? That was the only Islam?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I yield. You got it, Deputy Sheik.
All right, Sheikh Orton Bey, I'll bring you on after Deputy Sheikh Roy Bey.
Yeah, all right, thanks, brother. Sometimes these questions, boy, like running a marathon, they be hard to keep up with. It's so extensive. But let me see. Being that the Muslim because government once reaches the number of crimes, well, the first thing it says, being that the Moorish American National Republic is a government, and once it reaches the number required to have a seat in the government and recognized back into the said government, well, we already recognized into the said government. The prophet said we part and partial to the said government. So that part is already handled. Should this government be entitled to compensation, meaning us, under the 1320? The answer is yes, as well as reparations. Reparations is not constitutional. That's more of an emotional plea, not a logical approach toward us getting compensated for our ancestors' decades with regard to servitude. The reparations movement was never for us. That was more of us speaking from an emotional, moral perspective. The lawful term is compensation. Okay? So, it shouldn't be an issue. So it says here, or is compensation the only goal we should be thinking of? Well, I really don't care if they gave it to us under chocolate chip cookies and a glass of cold milk. I don't care what you call it. If they decide to say, well, we're not going to do reparations for you guys or compensation, how about if we pay you under the term whole wheat bread and warm butter? That's fine with me. Roy Bates won't take that. I'm taking it. However, that's a theory. The practical measure is constitution. And this is one of the reasons why our community has not received its just due with regard to compensation, because we keep on asking for something contrary to what they know was written in the law therein. And this is why, some of these amendments came through the radical Republicans. It was like a double whammy. You ain't got to pay us, and you don't have to pay the slaveholders. You see? So they swept these laws under the rug. Had Abraham Lincoln not been killed, we probably wouldn't be having this conversation today. But again, reparations is not lawful nor constitutional with regard to us, our history, our condition, etc., etc. And we have to stop calling for reparations and really start to look at what was written in the laws for us to benefit from. It is compensation, just compensation, So let me go back into this question. I'm trying to keep up with some of this stuff. Hold on. Being that the more is a government, yes, we are a government. We are a body politic. And once it reaches the number required to have a seat in the government, the number that's required, I believe, is 30,000. Now, the thing is here. Who? Oh, 36,000? Okay. Well, Norma said 36,000. Okay, fine. So let's say it's 36,000. I thought it was 30,000. But we are still struggling with our internal conflicts, not just within the Moorish paradigm, but the larger community at hand as well. Yeah, it's fine. I'm sorry with that, Morris. I'm talking on Norma's phone. But anyway, so the number that's required, we know the number. Now, we have about 45 million here, 40 to 45 million here in North America on record. But for some reason, out of those 45 million, we still can't seem to come up with 30 to 40,000 people just to sit down at the round table to take our place in the affairs of men with regard to national affairs. So, we have a long way to go before we can get there. We have the numbers, but we just don't agree upon everything. So there's still an issue there with regard to those 30 some odd thousand numbers. And of course, some of us like to be ruled and governed by the jurisdiction of Eurocentric dominance. So, issues are always at hand, but in terms of our payment for our ancestors' time in servitude, for the many decades that they spent on the cotton plantations and whatnot, it is compensation. To the questioner, if you can look in the law books and see where it talks about reparations, then hey, that's another conversation piece we can have. However, you're only going to see naturalization, colonization, and compensation. So that came out of the post-Civil War, 1865, Abraham Lincoln's executive will, as some of the brothers have already mentioned, and this is where we're still at. They only swept it under the rug, but it still made permanent parts to the United States Constitution, and this is why we're having these talks to try to get this wheel rolling in the right direction. So I'm going to yield the floor because, time is at hand. Sheik Oran Bey needs to come on, and Brad Bey needs to summarize our call tonight. Islam. Thank you.
Islam. And thank you for that demonstration, Deputy Sheik Roy Bey. Appreciate you much, beloved. Islam, Sheik Oran Bey, you have the floor. You'll be the last demonstration I take before it's time to bring National Grand on. Islam?
Islam, appreciate you, beloved. Deputy Sheik Roy Bey pretty much touched on the basis. But real quick, Sheik Oran Bey, we rise into my highest heights and give all perfect praise to our Mother, Father, God of the universe, whom we more refer to as Allah, giving all honors to our last prophet in these last days and time, our illustrious Hebrew prophet, the Honorable Prophet Noble Jew Allah, first, second, third. All right, Ma. So in reference to the 30,000, so when we talking about our government, remember, Morris, our prophet Noble Jew Ali was a genius citizen. And so based on how he incorporated the Moorish Science Temple of America back into the government under the Religious Organization Act, all right, dealing with two components, society and adoption. So he used society because he knew from a society a government could form. All right, everything is a process. Anything dealing with law of Moors has a process. So when we're looking at society, All right, we can't confuse, or we got to understand the correlation. So what Prophet Noble Drew Ali did, what he did, he resurrected, all right, our nation, which has failed. Remember, Morris, not just we had the Civil War. Over here we had the Christian Crusades. We had the wars of Poitou-France. All right, so we had numerous of wars that has taken place here. So to get into the gist of our question again, when we're talking about compensation, that's going to tie us into the Emancipation Proclamation, which our Prophet Noble Drew Ali was guiding us toward. See, we were only taught about January 1st. See, we wasn't taught about the initial Emancipation Proclamation that took place September 22nd, 1862, followed by the Compensated Emancipation Proclamation. So it's the Compensated Emancipation Proclamation that gives us just due, whether you was a person held as a slave or a prisoner of war, or if you was a slave owner. All right, because according to the Constitution, you can't take a man's property without just compensation. So the policy that's in place is the compensation. So that's why there's no need for us to use this term reparations. All right, and the executive will, Abraham Lincoln dealt with naturalization, colonization, and compensation. Compensation being the last aspect or the last order of the day. All right. If we was to get compensation, as our good brother just stated, with the mentality that we have, is European psychology. So if all our people did, what would we spend the finance on? We would turn it right around and give it right back to him. Because we want to get a Jaguar, a Lamborghini, or go try to buy an airplane, whatever the case may be. We got to change up the mind state, all right? So the first order of business is naturalization. We got to get ourselves corrected. And then colonization. We need land. How are we going to invest our compensations that we get into nothing that's resourceful? This is why we need the land. And then it's compensation. Once we got our people, once we got our land, we got the laws that govern us, now we're ready to get back and do business. We got brilliant minds out here. We're coming up with all type of businesses and services to do what? Serve the people nationwide. It's just coming upon us to organize, have faith in our prophet and what he has established for us, for our salvation here on earth. Should we be focused only on compensation? No. Why you say that, brother? Money don't make the man. It's this free national standards and power which makes a man in a nation. If we can get just 100, 200, 300 people immersed in the prophet's literature and our prophet's teachings, going through this school and actually being out here, being the genius citizen that he so desired for us to be, giving us this information, so what? We can bridge these gaps because our people don't know. So no, compensation is not what we should be only focused on. We should be focusing on coming up from that lower self to the higher self. Why? Because, Morris, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. The physical do not last. It has a beginning. Trust me, if it has a beginning, it do have an end. So with that, I'll put a period behind my statement. Yield the floor back to you, my good brother, Deputy Sheik. Islam.
Islam. And thank you for that beautiful demonstration and add-on. Ashik Orton Bay. Definitely appreciate the commentary. Y'all brothers did an excellent job. Definitely good to hear. But at this time now, it is now 9:01 p.m. and I'll be getting ready to mute all the lines and everybody remain muted as I introduce and bring to the floor our National Grand Sheik is none other than my brother, your brother, our brother, the National Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple, the Divine and National Movement of North America Incorporated, number 13, the Moorish American National Republic, is none other than Joel Bratton Bey. Islam there, National Graham. We got the floor warm for you, and we ready for you to take us on this journey. We have a total of 45 lines on the call. You can press star, star, and you have the floor.
Islam. Thank you, Mo.
Islam, National Graham. Loud and clear, and you have the floor.
Thank you, and thank all the noble brothers and sisters who demonstrated this evening. It's always a pleasure to hear our brothers and sisters demonstrating these questions with answers. The problem is that trusting that when the answers are given, are you taking notes to refer back to what's being said so you won't forget, or maybe you can utilize it to connect dots. So once again, I want to appreciate all the noble brothers and sisters for their participation in the call this evening. Islam. Well, as always, I want to rise to my highest height and giving all my love and praise to a God that I love so dearly, and trusting that we all can say that about our God Allah. We need to always continue to praise Allah and all that Allah has done for us. And I want to give honor to all of our ancestors, those that we speak of and those that we don't. They're so much a part of us, in us, and around us, and they're there for us. Giving honor to all of the divine prophets, namely Jesus, Muhammed, Buddha, and Confucius, and our most illustrious Hebrew prophet is none other than honorable prophet U.S.A, or Allah, who was truly our Redeemer and Savior. Just think about it, Mo. Just think about it. I'm sure you can draw your own conclusion on what those words represent and how it applies. Giving honor to all of the Moorish officials and staff, who I greatly appreciate, love them dearly, and giving honor to all of our members and all of you all this evening. Islam is always my honor and pleasure to be a part of you. So we all are one. Islam. Well, these questions, we have 3 questions tonight. Okay, and as I stated, I appreciate the brothers and sisters for bringing the commentaries to these questions. So I'll add my little bit. But we're going to deal with the latter question more. What is it?
Islam, National Graham. The latter question reads, being that the Moorish American National Republic is a government, and once it reaches the number required to have a seat in the government and recognized back into this said government, shouldn't this government be entitled to compensation under the 1320 as well as reparations, being that it is a nation and reparations is nation to nation, or is compensation the only goal we should be thinking of? Islam?
Islam, thank you. Parts. So I'm going to deal with the fact about, we are a government. No doubt about it. And that's why when they were discussing the laws in question that freed us, they called the land base that we were to colonize the great body of the Republic, which lies between the Rockies and the Allegheny Mountain chains and consists of over 22 states. They call it the land of milk and honey. This Egypt of the West. So our prophet, according to his divine authority, he recaptured everything. He fulfilled the prophecy, the first shall be last, last shall be first, when he brought us our titles to our vast estate, which consists of the land base that we're speaking of. So we have it all. And Rome knows that, and that's why you have the 2 seals on the dollar bill, 1 government, 2 jurisdictions. We got to understand we brought them into our house and made them a part of we the people. So let's look at this. Even if we didn't have 30,000 to take a seat, that don't stop us from getting the compensation at all. But see, you can't get everybody And our people so stuck on themselves, especially with how this man has indoctrinated us. And that's why our prophet had to lay out a divine constitution and bylaws when he said, with us, all members must proclaim. So look at all our people who have been labeled black, African American, etc. They're not a part of this, but yet they are. But they have not proclaimed. So our prophet also teaches that we must enforce the law to save the nation. And the law in question is the policy of freedom, which entails compensation. It entails freedom. It entails your right to your religion consciously. So, getting back to this, one thing we got to realize that it's nothing, well, no, let me come this way. The laws that govern this nation is the United States Constitution. There's nothing, no amendments, no sections, no articles that make reference to reparations at all. See, reparations was a game of play of words to take us off the true foundation, which is compensation. See, compensation goes all the way back to biblical scripture. The law of Hebrew, which governs the planet, which is the Mosaic Code. So, when our prophet says we must enforce the law to save the nation, then what law is he talking about? He's already gave us a bullet point when he eliminated the 14th and 15th Amendments, but he left the 13th Amendment for discussion. And he left that 13th Amendment for us to realize, as us being scientists of law, and we got to deal with what the law says, not what man say. It's what the law say. So the law says we are free, forever free. Voluntary servitude shall never be established or tolerated in any of the several states or territories. So in this policy of freedom, they make reference to compensation. And there are two components dealing with the compensation. I'll say three. Well, when you deal with the Hebrew law, where it all begins, March 31st, 1864, it says this, and they debated the whole slavery issue. They said there's only but one remaining law, and this is that common law. And it says that in this connection, that the Levitical Code or the Hebrew law contains a provision. The naturalization of foreigners, whether captives of war or voluntary immigrants, and by compliance with the requirements of this law, they become citizens, entitled to all the rights and the privileges and immunities of who? The native Hebrew. Then it says the Hebrew slave code is applicable to enslaved Hebrews in these words. If thy brother, an Hebrew man or Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee and served thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. How 7 is the key number. That Levitical code is inscribed on the Liberty Bell at the top. He shall hallow within the 50th year, proclaim liberty throughout all the land, unto all that have themselves, and it shall be a duty unto you to return every man unto what? His family and his possession. So let's continue where compensation comes in. Then it says, I request the attention of those who claim compensation for the emancipated slave to the text. And when thou send him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. So did they let us go empty when they let us go free from the slaveholder? They let us go empty. We didn't get compensated. We didn't become citizens. We didn't be entitled to all the privileges and immunities of the native Hebrew. That didn't take place. You know why? Because there was a process of naturalization that should have been administered to us in order for us to fulfill the language of what I just spoken about. And that's why I said by compliance with the requirements of naturalization, we become citizens. We never comply. Those of you who have read the Dred Scott decision, when you read the finalization of that case, you'll see within the guts of the case that the reason why he was never made a citizen because he was never naturalized. They use the word naturalized, not nationalized, but naturalized. And that's his case was before the 14th Amendment. So where are they going with that particular wording? Where did they derive it from? Well, you got to go back to the foundation of government, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, where it says they have to establish a uniform rule of what? Naturalization. So, where do you see compensation in the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections? So you got to go to Section 17. And those of you who have our paperwork, you'll see our logo reference up under the Liberty Bell, Section 16 and 17, which comprises or parts of the 13th Amendment or 13th Article with 20 sections. Section 16 deal with conspiracies. Section 17 deal with compensation. So let's see what Section 16 and 17 really represent. So when you read Section 16, it says all conspiracies in any state to interfere with the lawful rights, it didn't say legal rights, it says lawful rights, in any other state or against the United States shall be suppressed. So what does that mean to us? How does that apply? Brothers, sisters, you come out of that school of law and history and you being presented with paperwork, you letting the government know that you making steps because you're going through the process of your actual freedom and you're making steps. Let them know that you're going for your actual freedom. That's why you must submit the paperwork back to the various departments for them to recognize you according to the laws that freed you. And the correlation with you becoming a member under the divine authorities of who? The Honorable Prophet Noble Drew Ali, as a citizen of the U.S.A. period. See, they don't supposed to infringe upon any actions you take. Why? Because the Emancipation Proclamation was warranted as permanent parts to the Constitution on December 15th, 1862. Vote 78 to 52. But you don't see it. And that's why when you read Lincoln's executive will in part, it says the executive, the military, and naval authorities thereof to do what? Recognize us. But how can we be recognized if we don't go through the process? And then it says, when they recognize us, they don't suppose to do no act or acts to repress us now. Repress us in any effort we make for our actual freedom. But when you present this paperwork and they suppress you, then they violate your birthright. They violate the laws of freedom. They violate the constitutional foundation of law. Why? Because the proclamation was made permanent parts. And that's why I said in Section 16 it says deal with conspiracies and how any state who interfere with your rights, any state that interfere with your rights or against the United States shall be suppressed. But see, we don't want to study this. We don't want to digest this law of freedom. No, we don't. We bouncing here, bouncing there, and everywhere else. But this is your foundation to facilitate your birthright and nationality, but yet you don't want to take the time to understand what it entails. So you see the compensation going into Section 17. No, well, let me continue with Section 16 because we're going to tie that back into Article 5. So continuing to read Section 16, and then it says that no state or the people thereof shall withdraw from this union without the consent of 3/4 of all the states. Well, see, that's why the Southerners people, they never succeeded. They were just in rebellion because 3/4 of the states did not agree to what they was doing. But by us now understanding these connections, we only going on what somebody has told us. Oh, they succeeded. They set up their own government, please. They just was in rebellion. So then it says expressed by an amendment proposed and ratified in the manner provided in Article 5 of the Constitution. So when you look at Article 5 of the Constitution, it's going to reference compensation, y'all. Don't say anything about reparations at all. When you go to Article 5, it says, no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in the militia, when in actual service in time of war or public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property, and here we go, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Man, these people play a game with constitutional laws. They pick and choose what they want to use from it. As we've heard and seen, people say, well, I plead the fifth. But yet, at the other time you want to use the Constitution in these courts, they don't want you to bring it in. Why? Because they're corporate. They can't accept the true foundation of law because that would destroy their fraud. So they keep it out. But when things get in such a degree of concern, then they come with what I plead the fifth. So why are the courts accepting that, but nothing else? Something to think about. So now let's see what Section 17 has to say about compensation. So when you go to Section 17, it says this: whenever any state wherein involuntary servitude is recognized or allowed shall propose to abolish such servitude and shall apply for pecuniary assistance therein, the Congress may, in its discretion, but see, that may is a must now, because when 3/4 of the states ratified the 13 amendment with 20 sections of the 13th article with 20 sections, it became the law of the land. And they ratified it January 31st, 1865. The vote was 119 to 56, 8 not voting. President Lincoln signed it February 1st. You don't know nothing about this. So it says, in their district, grant such relief not exceeding $100 for each person liberated. So how come they haven't done all of this, but y'all talk about reparations? Black folks gonna never get that. They playing us, people. And if you take your time and just go in retrospect, and when you see when all this term came about, reparations, they played the game of words in the cons with these representatives. Oh, our people want to be, we want to get reparations. Now, our leaders know about this policy of freedom. They do. But so many of them are boule, and they don't want this really to be enforced because they like being subservient and above the lower class, if you will. They want to shine, but we have a so-called Black Caucus. Have you heard the Black Caucus talking about anything that's going to benefit us as a people? You don't hear them talking about the vaccine, what's going on with the crime, or how we go to jail and get more time than anyone else. But you don't hear none of that. So what are they purpose in the seats for? They're supposed to represent your interests, but you got them there and they're representing themselves through corporations because they're getting paid to do what? Keep quiet. So you see the game that's being played. But then let's move a little further on. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not finished with that yet. Section 17. For they not to exceed $100 for each person liberated, but Congress shall not propose such abolishment or relief to any state. Now, so you don't need 30,000 to get a seat to voice your opinion of law. You don't. If we try to get 30,000 waiting for these Moors, we'll never get there. Because see, but the pro and tell they got agents all up in these organizations to defer the truth. As you know, they pinpoint us. 1320 didn't pass. Lincoln didn't do nothing for us. This policy of freedom all don't mean that. Prophet didn't bring it. All of these things, y'all. But can't nobody prove it wrong because they sure not going to come this way and have a sit down and put on the table what their findings are to substantiate what they're saying. They ain't going to do that because I've challenged everybody. I don't care who you are. I'm challenging again and again and again. So what's the fluff? Why are you playing the game with the folks? You're scattering the flock, but you're going to pay for it. Think not, bold man, that your punishment is delayed and Allah is weak and he see you. You get by, but you're never going to get away. We on Allah's time. The time is right. Those of you out there scattering the flock, your time is beginning to be short. It's time for this truth to be known. You can delay it, what you've been doing, but you'll never stop it. So let me continue. So, see, we are charged. This movement, the divine and national movement, is charged to do exactly what we're doing. To mandate what our prophet's teachings is in his warning when he says there's only but one issue. And that's what's to be recognized. That ties you back into the Emancipation Proclamation when the executive says the executive, military, and naval authority there was what? Recognize. See, all this is about, it's about that too. See, the recognition is coming together. But the government got to recognize you first. That's why the Dingwall brothers, Richard and Timothy branches, went into the military to set it up. Moorish Bureau of Vital Statistics to be recognized as a national entity through genealogy. They did that in the 40s. Government put their stamp behind it. You don't know nothing about it. So, but it's real. So our prophet made us aware of what needs to be done. So when it says there's only but one issue to be recognized, and it only comes through, only comes through the connection of the Moorish divine and national movement. So you all need to ask yourself, what Moorish entity out there in this nation is connecting you back into the government? Ask yourselves that. And if they are, how? And under what law? That's what you need to ask. I'm only revealing. I'm only demonstrating. I'm only applying the process of what our prophet Noble Drew has put before us that so many of us are reluctant to do. Rome knows what we're doing. They've been before us. They got all of this. They know, but you don't know. It's not my words I'm giving to you. I'm giving you the words of our prophet. I'm just a messenger, bringing home this truth, getting you to connect the dots on how it is supposed to be, what it must be to save this nation. Then our prophet, we must enforce the law to save the nation. This is the only law we can enforce. He's already limited the 14th and 15th Amendments. 14th Amendment is your civil rights, citizenship. 15th Amendment is your voting rights. Over this 13th Amendment. Oh, people. I know we said this over and over and over, but you still haven't got it yet. You still haven't understood. All has been said down through the years about this. But see, Rome going to force us together. He's going to force us, people. Believe me, we better be right. Better be right. See, we on the good foot. He know we right. What about you? So then, referring back to President Lincoln's second annual address to Congress, it's called the Compensated Emancipation Proclamation. You all who have visited our website, www.moorishamericannationalrepublic.com, go to icon that says resources and hit the link to the Moore School of Law and History. And as you stroll down, you'll see a link that says the Orientation and Naturalization book. 132 pages of information. The Compensated Emancipation Proclamation is in the book. You need to read it. You need to read all the proclamations because that's the laws that freed you. And the 13th Amendment 20 sections is also included. You need to take time to read this policy of freedom. It's all about you. But you don't believe it's about you because you haven't been taught it's about you. You've been taught something else. So when the great white father, there you here, there you there, and he bypassed this whole process, and you got degrees. So being that you have your degree and you don't or haven't been taught this, you don't give it no credence. Shame on you. The law governs all events, people, the seen and the unseen. This is what is called the unseen. But now it's being seen because we live in proof of it by your paperwork. Why? Because this is a paper government. Think about it. So, dealing with that question is very profound. And see, when we met with the Carters back in the 80s, they checked all this out and said we was right. John Connors, he was the man who flipped it all. He came with the reparations piece after he did the research about the Justice Department file number that we talk about from time to time. I got a letter from him that he sent to the Justice Department requesting to get the file. Oh, people, y'all just don't know. But it's good to have a paper trail. So you can always revert back to who said and who did what. So we can see the importance of it, and also I will add this too. Well, our articles of incorporation, which are profitable organizations, not non-profit. It all entails the policies of freedom, the province authority, the Moorish School of Law and History. And what this organization is predicated to do for all of our members and people. And the word reparation and compensation is engrossed within the language. Those of you who have those articles, you need to take time, really take your time and digest what's being stipulated. These articles are certified. State Department have them. They've been certified through the Department of Assessment and Taxation here in Maryland. So why would they certify articles of incorporation relating to your freedom, compensation, and things of this nature, and other things. Why would they do that? People, please wake up. You don't have a whole lot of time. So I just wanted to add that. And to close, we are truly entitled to the compensation more than anyone else. We're going to get that compensation more. With or without you, we're going to get it. But we're going to enforce this law. And we don't need 30,000 to do it. We're going to do this. It's already been mandated. You just don't know. So with that, Mo, I'm going to put a period behind that question and we can go to the previous one.
Islam National Grand. Our next question on the floor reads, if no one is a true citizen because they are now under the 14th Amendment, why is it that blacks must be naturalized back into the government in order to reclaim their true nationality and be recognized as a part of the human family? Whites were also slaves at one point in the history of this country. Why are they automatically recognized as retaining their nationality as Americans? Islam, it's a two-part question, National Grand.
Okay, thank you. Well, if no one is a true citizen because they are now under the 14th Amendment, well, no one is a true citizen under the 14th Amendment. I don't care who you are, president on down. I don't care who you are. You're not a true citizen at all. And see, I have a stickler when I meet with officials because I like to ask questions to them. And one of my questions is, are you a citizen of the government? I love to hear their response. Then whatever they say, then I tell them that they're a bunch of fakes. I said that to a group of officials down in Miami. I was there for a while. I was the chief defense witness for the Miami 7. They governed, requested for me to be there. I didn't ask. They came to me. But nevertheless. And see, the reason why no one is a citizen under the 14th Amendment, because the 14th Amendment is not law at all. It was never ratified. Why do you think President Trump said just because you're born here, that don't make you a citizen? And the 14th Amendment was never ratified. They know. That's where the money is under the 14th Amendment, under civil rights. So being that they're not citizens, and being that the 14th Amendment was never ratified, then that means all the laws, statutes, etc., up under the 14th Amendment is bogus, is void, has no validity at all for constitutional law, at all. Let me explain. I'm going to share this information with you. Then we're going to deal with this black thing. So I'm going to deal with the 14th Amendment first. There's no 14th Amendment. A mistaken belief. And this was by Mr. David Lawrence, U.S. News and World Report, September 27th, 1957. Let's see what the brother's talking about. So walk with me now. It's good to have a paper trail. We have so many themes go here and there to connect the dots. So it says a mistaken belief that there is a valid article in the Constitution known as the 14th Amendment. A mistaken belief is responsible, the 14th Amendment now, is responsible for the Supreme Court decision of 1954 and the ensuing controversy over desegregation in the public schools of America. No such amendment was ever legally ratified by 3/4 of the states of the Union as required by the Constitution itself. The so-called 14th Amendment was obviously proclaimed by the Secretary of State on July the 20th, 1868. The president shared that doubt. There were 37 states in the Union at the time, so ratification by at least 28 was necessary to make the amendment an integral part of the Constitution. Actually, only 21 states legally ratified it, so it failed of ratification. The undisputed record, attested by official journals and unanimous writings of historians, establishes these events as occurring in 1867 and 1868. Number one, outside the South, 6 states: New Jersey, Ohio, Kentucky, California, Delaware, and Maryland failed to ratify the proposed amendment. Number two, in the South, 10 states: Texas, Arkansas, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Florida, Mississippi, and Louisiana, by formal action of their legislatures, rejected it under the normal processes of civil law. Number three, a total of 16 legislators out of 37 failed legally to ratify the 14th Amendment. Number four, Congress, which had deprived the southern states of their seats in the Senate, did not lawfully pass the resolution of submission in the first instance. Number five, the southern states which had rejected the amendment were coerced by a federal statute passed in 1867 that took away the right to vote or hold office from all citizens who had served in the Confederate Army. Military governors were appointed and instructed to prepare the roll of voters. All this happened in spite of the presidential proclamation of amnesty previously issued by the president, and new legislatures were thereupon chosen and forced to ratify under penalty of continued exile from the Union. In Louisiana, a general sent down from the North presided over the state legislature. Abraham Lincoln had declared, this is number 6, Abraham Lincoln had declared many times that the Union was inseparable and indivisible. After his death, and when the war was over, the ratification by the southern states of the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery had been accepted as legal. But Congress, in the 1867 law, imposed the specific conditions under which the southern states would be entitled to representation in Congress. Number 7, Congress, in passing the 1867 law that declared the southern states could not have their seats in either the Senate or the House in the next session unless they ratified the 14th Amendment, took an unprecedented step. This was no such right to compel a state by an act of Congress to ratify a constitutional amendment. It is to be found anywhere in the Constitution. Pardon me, let me make this right. Is to be found. Let me go back. No such right to compel a state by an act of Congress to ratify a constitutional amendment is to be found anywhere in the Constitution. Nor has this procedure ever been sanctioned by the Supreme Court of the United States. Number 8, President Andrew Johnson publicly denounced this law as unconstitutional, but it was passed over his veto. Number 9, Secretary of State Seward was on the spot in July 1868 when the various ratifications of a spurious nature were placed before him. The legislatures of Ohio and New Jersey had notified him that they rescinded their earlier action of the ratification. He said in his official proclamation that he was not authorized as Secretary of State to determine and decide doubtful questions as to the authenticity of the organization of state legislatures or as to the power of any state legislature to recall a previous act or resolution of ratification. He added that the amendment was valid if the resolutions of the legislatures of Ohio and New Jersey ratifying the aforesaid amendment are to be deemed as remaining of full force and effect, notwithstanding the subsequent resolutions of the legislatures of these states. This was a very big if. They got quotes all around it, just if. It will be noted that the real issue, therefore, is not only whether the forced ratification by the 10 southern states was lawful, but whether the withdrawal by the legislatures of Ohio and New Jersey, 2 northern states, was legal. The right of a state, by action of its legislature, to change its mind at any time before the final proclamation of ratification is issued by the Secretary of State, has been confirmed in connection with other constitutional amendments. Number 10. The Oregon legislature in October 1868, 3 months after the Secretary's proclamation was issued, passed a rescinding resolution which argued that the 14th Amendment had not been ratified by 3/4 of the states and that the ratification in the southern states were usurpations, unconstitutional, revolutionary, and void, and that until such ratification is completed, any state has a right to withdraw its assent to any proposed amendment. What do the historians say about all of this? Reconstruction added humiliation to suffering. 8 years of crime, fraud, and corruption followed it, and was state legislation composed of negroes, carpetbaggers, and scallywags who obeyed the orders of the generals and ratified the amendment. So, I just wanted to read this portion, but there's more to it. But this is it's about 4 pages, but I'm not going to read it all. I just want to highlight this about this 14th Amendment. So without doubt or contradiction, you can see what's going on here. And I forgot to do this when we was dealing with the March 31st. We were talking about the Hebrew and the compensation. I forgot this piece, so I'm just going to revert back to that because I missed this very important portion of March 31st, 1864, dealing with the compensation. It says this: these Hebrew statutes provide that the heathen might be purchased and held as slaves and their posterity after them. And here we go. That under their naturalization laws, that we of this body, the Moorish American National Republic, which is the Moorish Science Temple of America, we just moving it forward on a more national scale to facilitate our prophet's authority and what this is all about for our people. So it says that under their naturalization laws, that's why we refer back to Article 1, Section 8, Clause 4, that we have to establish a uniform rule of what naturalization is. That under their naturalization laws, all strangers and sojourners, born and free, have the privilege of acquiring the rights of citizenship. All this is under their naturalization laws, which is constitutional now, which is the Moorish Foundation, the first 7 articles. But Article 1, Section 8 calls for as part of the first 7 articles. Have the privilege of acquiring the rights of citizenship that all Hebrews now, you ain't talking about black folks, negroes and colored folks, African Americans, we talking about Hebrews now. Natives, because we're not native English, we're native Hebrew. Or naturalized, might assert and maintain their right to freedom. Walk with me, people. Continuing. And at the end of 6 years, a Hebrew slave thus demanding his liberty. See, we demanding our liberty now. We demanding our liberty, which is your birthright, was not to be sent away empty. The owner, so far from claiming compensation from his neighbors or from the public treasury, for setting him free, was bound to divide with the freedmen of his own possessions to give him of his flocks, of his herds, of his granary, and of his winepress, of everything with which the Lord Almighty had blessed the master during the years of his servitude. And then the owner was admonished that he was not to regard it as a hardship to be required to liberate the slave and to divide with him of his substance. The Almighty placed the liberated slave's claim to a division of his former master's property on the eternal principles of justice. We're going to the last principle: love, truth, peace, what? Freedom and what? Justice. It's time for our justice. The duty to render an equivalent for an equivalent. The slave, having served 6 years, must be paid for his service, must be paid liberally, because he had been worth even more than a hired servant during the period of his enslavement. If then, continued Mr. Harlan, the justice of this claim cannot be found either in reason, natural justice, or the principles of the common law, or in any positive municipal or statute regulation of any state, or in the Hebrew code written by the finger of God, protruded from the flame of fire on the summit of Sinai. I ask whence the origin of the title to the services of the adult offspring of the slave mother, in which your birth certificate, or it is not manifest that there is no such title, just title. Is it not a mere usurpation without any known mode of justification under any existing code of laws, human or divine? And this is all coming from the Great Conspiracy. Its origin and history by John A. Lowe, page 533. So I wanted to bring that part in because it's all about the compensation. Don't say nothing about reparations. So get that out your mind, people. That's a throw-off. They're playing a word game with us with that one to keep you from this. Black folks will never get anything pertaining to reparations or anything else pertaining to what they claim to want or what they claim to deserve. Why? Because you call yourself black, African American, colored, Negro, etc. You're not a part of the human family. Why? Because you don't have a descent name to attach yourself to. So who's going to listen to you? You have no voice in society. Can't you see why they shoot us up in the street, hang us, maim us? Because you're not human. Think about it. So let me continue. See, I'm finished with the 14th Amendment to a point. I'm still moving ahead because, you know, see, when you say you're black, you're a stateless person. A stateless person is a legal concept describing the lack of any nationality. It denotes the absence of a recognized link between an individual and any state. So you can't identify yourself with nobody. No land, no nothing. Black. You say you're African American. That's a continent. So which one did you come out of? What country? Still don't know. So going back to this particular Question 2. Why is it that blacks must be naturalized back into the government in order to reclaim their true nationality and be recognized as a part of the human family? You must. You must. I just gave you the spill on the part of naturalization. And see, we got to remember, y'all, black is an adjective. It's not a noun. So you got to understand, give yourself this question. Ask yourself, what is the noun of the people who call themselves black? That's where you need to go. And being that there's so much controversy about this black and more thing, go into an early edition dictionary. Look up the word black or more. I have it here in one of my files. Give you the whole breakdown. Black or more. Webster's letting you know your adjective is black, but your noun is more. Black a more. But you don't want to believe that. No. You don't want to do that. You don't want to believe that. So further with this, we're going to see what the Supreme Court got to say about it. This is a current situation, and even dealing with that 14th Amendment there, y'all, you got to also remember about this 14th Amendment, too, that year 1883, the Supreme Court declared it unconstitutional, and they voted it out. I know I'm bouncing back again because I'm looking on my front of me, and I forgot to bring this in to tie back into this 14th Amendment because I knew there was a whole lot more information I wanted to share, bring clarity about this 14th Amendment. Well, we're still on it because it's all about black. Well, let me deal with the Supreme Court in the year 2013, Justice Scalia. And check this. Now, I made reference to Dred Scott earlier, dealing with this 14th Amendment. And this is breaking news. Supreme Court repealed 14th Amendment, returned the United States to Dred Scott, Washington, D.C. Now, I've dealt with this many times, but those of you on the call who have heard this, open your ears and hear this to be the truth of what it is. And that will help you understand your inner questions about yourself and what you must do to rectify the wrong. Washington, D.C. in the landmark decision of the Supreme Court today declared the 14th Amendment to be unconstitutional. The immediate effect is that the precedent returns to the previous held position of Dred Scott versus Stanford 60 U.S. 393, 1857. And writing the majority opinion, Justice Scalia confirmed that the voters, the government, and the states really didn't mean to pass and ratify the 14th Amendment. See, that's why I was reading all this previous information about there's no 14th Amendment to bring some closure to this. But there was no political capital to be gained by its repeal. He therefore concluded that the clear role of the court was to act in loco parentis for the people and government. And loco parentis means in the place of a parent, instead of a parent, charged fictitiously with a parent's rights, duties, and responsibilities. So that birth certificate, even if you're not around, mother, father, they're going to identify you in place of the parent, instead of the parent, charged fictitiously with a parent's rights, duties, and responsibilities. You see the importance of that birth certificate and how we must be identified properly, but yet we're not. Continuing, he added that since there was no longer any slaves currently held in the United States, which that's not so, we've still been held as slaves, and we're still carrying a man's name. And the protections afforded by the 14th Amendment were unnecessary and simply a racial entitlement. He signaled that the Voting Rights Act, 15th Amendment, would probably have to fall by the same measure. As black people, say this again, as black people are no longer citizens. So the question was pointed, right? If no one is a true citizen because they are under the 14th Amendment, why is it that blacks must be naturalized back into the government in order to claim their true nationality and be recognized as part of the human family? You don't have a nationality as black. That's why you must proclaim your nationality and go through a process of naturalization. Why, like I said on the top of the bell, Leviticus, he shall howl within that 50th year, proclaim liberty throughout all the land, all that happens thereof, and shall be a jubilee unto you to return every man into what his family and his possession. The only way that you can be returned to your family and your possessions, people, is you must be naturalized. That's why I gave you the Hebrew code of naturalization to confirm your citizenship, your immunities and privileges. Don't have nothing to do with nationalization. That's another fake move to steer you away from naturalization. You see how these Moors do? And they look at the definition of naturalization and naturalization, but they still want to pump that in your mind. Oh, we got to be nationalized. Please. Look at the two definitions and see which one is more beneficial to you. Wake up, people. So, you have no nationality under black. And then you have to understand that the reason why they didn't naturalize us once we became free, because if they had to naturalize us at that point in time, people, that means they had to compensate us, because that's in the body of the debate of slavery. They didn't want to do that. Why do you think in the 14th Amendment they said they're not paying no compensation, no pension, none of that pertaining to emancipation? They ain't paying none of that. So that's in violation of that Hebrew code. You see, that's why they didn't do it. And I gave you the years, 1867, 1868. They played us. They played us big time. The South didn't have no, that's why the prophet said the 14th Amendment brought the North and South in unit without no power. I just read to you why they didn't have no power. Just read it. It was forced on them. They never ratified that. Why should they? Why would you ratify an amendment that's going to take compensation from you dealing with your property? But the radical elements had the Congress, just like the radical elements have the Congress as we speak today. The radical people got it. So if you truly want to be part of the human family, you must have a natural descent name to identify with. If you don't, you dead in the water. Why do you think our prophet said black according to science means death? He's talking about political science. Everything under black politically that we mark on these forms, are you not dead in the system? There's no recognition for you, about you, at all. But you put a haze over your eyes. Put your fingers to your ears so you don't want to hear or see what's really happening because you truly don't want to believe it. But yet it's real. So, therefore, people, even in the Congress in the year 1967, they put the 14th Amendment back up on the floor. They debated congressional record, the proceedings and debates of the 90th Congress, first session, volume 113, part 12, June the 12th, 1867 to June the 20th, 1867, and they give you the whole flow. The second page is all about the 14th Amendment and how the Congress at that session said it was unconstitutional. But you don't want to believe it. You don't want to believe it. And then to put more teeth to it, the Jack Lee's case. Jack Lee's case. The motion was to dismiss was the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments to the United States Constitution was never properly ratified and do not reflect the provisions. That gave you certain provisions. The provision of the original 13th Amendment with 20 sections, and wherefore Jack Lee's praised this honorable court dismissed criminal Y-76-083 and declared the rights of Moorish Americans across the country. So you see, this case pertains to your rights across the country that the federal court has confirmed this policy of freedom, but you don't want to take the time to sit down and dissect what it is. Shame on us. Shame on us. Shame. Got everything in front of you, but you don't want to believe it. People, wake up. The only way out. There's no other way out. That's why they say this: the Hebrew law is the only remaining law. There's no other law we can use. And why should we try to go somewhere else? The Hebrew laws of your ancestors, which set in place all down through the annals of time to their posterity, which is we coming into this era of time under the authority, divine authority of who the Honorable Prophet Noble Drawley. That's why he did a religious affidavit to take you back to this, the Hebrew law. That's why we're Hebrew masters of what Moorish descent. All this plays into our platform that we must use to substantiate the freedom, people, and the recognition of us. All right. All right. Let me just read this part. Dealing with the case. Those of you who haven't read it, don't have it. So you got to remember, too, now, all this ties into the two constitutions that they don't talk about. And remember, they came in with the 14th Amendment in 1868. 14th Amendment. Re-enslave us, right? 3 years later, 1871, they came with the second constitution, which Florida. Since 1871, the Act of 1871, the United States President and the United States Congress have been playing politics on a different set of rules and policies. And see, that's why this 14th Amendment is bogus. And those of you who deal with the white situation, I would recommend you to go on to YouTube and put in the birth of the white nation. It's going to explain something to you about how this whole white identification came about. If you want to say white, we are the true white people. Why? Because white means purity. Purity means God. God means rule of the land. You don't want to be white? It's all about status. Nothing to do with pigmentation. Since 1871, the President of the United States Congress has been playing politics under a different set of rules and powers. The American people do not know that there are two constitutions in the United States. The first penned by the leaders of the newly independent states of the United States in 1776. And on July the 4th, 1776, the people claimed their independence from the crown, temporal authority of the Roman Catholic Pope. And democracy was born. See, you don't see nothing in the Constitution saying nothing about a democracy. It's a republic. But it's letting you know when it all surfaced, when it was established. In 1871, democracy was born. And for 95 years, the United States people were free and independent. That freedom ended in 1871 when the original Constitution for the United States of America was changed to the Constitution of the United States of America in all caps. See, the original Constitution for the United States was us. We established we the people. We are that Constitution, the original Constitution, original people. You understand? Original Constitution for the original people. What they brought in was not original. They copied and pasted. And they thought they could destroy. You can't destroy the Constitution because it's perpetual. The Union is perpetual. That's why when you go to Article 6, it just says if you got anything contrary that is notwithstanding for being at the 14th Amendment. Tried is best to dissolve the Fifth Amendment or the Fifth Article, which they couldn't do. So they want to take out the compensation part. Coming with the 14th Amendment, Section 4. You ain't paying nobody. Can't do that. So I would say if you got anything contrary to this, notwithstanding, that's why the Supreme Court had declared unconstitutional. Because they tried to destroy the foundation. You can't destroy the foundation of this government. Care what they say or do. And see, we keeping it alive by doing the things we do. whether you want to accept it or not. That's what we're doing. So then I'm going to start with that. I'll start with that. So we must always understand too that when you're dealing with this law like this, and the question was asked that these whites, and as I think it was Sheikh, what they were saying that, when you ask them, just in general conversation, what's your nationality? They'll come off and say, well, I'm Irish, I'm this or that. But with us, oh, I'm black. I'm African American. That ain't gonna work. But if I'm say I'm Irish or German, I can go to the world map and show you the country that says Germany. Show you the country that say black. You say African American, that's a continent. So which nation did you come out of, Negro? Still don't know. So you see, when asking them their nationality, they can give it, but yet they still not citizens even. Nobody. Because the only law to make anybody a citizen is the 14th Amendment. You see, when asked of their nationality, they can tell you. That's why our prophet says in the warning that you know. He said, through your free national name, you are known and recognized. Black is not a free national name. So how are you going to be known and recognized? Black is an adjective. Our prophet gave us the verbiage. Through your free national name, you are known and recognized by all nations of the earth that are recognized by the said national government which they live. It's right there. You go across the water, I'm black. They're going to look at you like you cold crazy. You see, people, the importance of what this is and what we must do to make it right. But nothing's going to change until you make the change. Because even, check this out. Even dealing with the Emancipation Proclamation and this whole black thing, we got to understand that we was enslaved. They marked us in 1779 with these derogatory terms. Negro, colored, black, African American, right? Lincoln instituted the Emancipation Proclamation and freed us for us to come into the war to fight for our freedom, and we did that. We won that Civil War. That's why France gave this country the Statue of Liberty, because we won our freedom. But what we don't understand, people, is that once we became free from all of the humanization of these marks, we was never to use them again. Why should you? When you just fought for your freedom to get from under this man's yoke. These slave brands, these labels, these marks. Why would you want to continue to use them to this day? And the reason why you don't know, because they don't teach this hidden piece. They don't teach this law that has governed you, which is a great event, but it's unseen. But with the coming of the prophet, just open your eyes so you can see what's due you. You have a nationality. You have a birthright. And then you have the law to facilitate all of it. Without it, you have nothing. You have nothing. All praise to Allah for sending us our prophet. The Emancipation Proclamation was a divine contract agreement that had 37 years to facilitate it from 1863 to the year 1900. We were supposed to have been naturalized, colonized, then compensated within those 37-year period. Didn't happen. They had a grace period. See, by the year 1900, we were supposed to have been sent. We had a grace period. They had a grace period. But in 1900, instead of them fulfilling their obligation to us, they came over for act of Congress called Negro the Beast. So you want to continue to stay Negro? Because they put us in a position to stay Negroes. But they took this history out, these laws out, so you wouldn't be made aware, because the man that controls your habits is controlling you. So if he controls the educational system and the laws thereof, you don't know nothing about this. He covered it up to continue his vendetta against the North. Then he made us corporate slaves. That's what we are today. We don't have chains, not in the fields, but we corporate slaves. Everything we are utilizing today is what he want to give us. Our habits, does he not control them all? He give you what you want, but he's in control. Corporate slaves. But slavery is slavery. If slavery ended and lasted until 1865, so why are we corporate slaves? Slavery is slavery. Because we don't know about this part. This is the missing piece to the puzzle. He thought he had it well hidden. But there's a great God who sees everything, who knows everything, and who's about everything. And you surely can't continue to destroy that earth that belongs to Allah, nor his people. If you look back in history, you'll see what nature had to do to rouse the mindset of the people to realize that there is a God. And you don't mess with Allah in that way, because he surely will punish you. So curse the day and damn the day, damn the hour. Curse the day and damn the hour you was born. Messing with this. No joke. No joke. So it was a grace period, 1900, 13 years later, who comes? Our prophet. Fulfilling the hollow. Ye shall hallow within the 50th year. 1863, 1913 is 50 years. Our prophet's hollow will come all you age out here about your nationality and birthright. He took you back to the compensation. He took you back to the law of the 13. He took you back to your freedom. No one else did that. No one. All praise to our God Allah for sending us our prophet. So I will leave that. Looking at the time. All right, Mo, that first question. Islam, Deputy Sheikh? Islam, Deputy Sheikh? Islam.
Islam National Grand. I think the Deputy Sheikh is having technical difficulties.
Islam National Grand, can you hear me?
Yeah, I've been hollering for you, Mo. You all right?
I know. On my board, when I unmuted my mic, I couldn't hear nothing. I mean, you couldn't hear me.
All right. Okay. Well, let's deal with these questions, Mo. I'm looking at the time.
Yes, indeed. I got you, National Grand. Our first question reads: are Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? Islam?
Islam. Okay. Let's pick this question apart. Are Moroccan-born, non-Asiatic individuals considered Moors? If my mind serves me well, I don't know what Deputy Sheikh Roy Bay or Sheikh Roy Bay was saying about French Moroccans. Now, you know, Moors flag didn't come up until 1956. French Morocco. So, Moroccan-born, if you Moroccan-born, what does that mean? Moroccan-born. If I'm from France and I move my family or just reside, domicile in Morocco. And I would be considered a French Moroccan. That's what I would be labeled a French Moroccan. Why a French Moroccan? Because you are living in that particular country. Just like we are Americans of Moorish descent. So this French Moroccan, I'm going to tell you all a little bit. When we used to go to D.C. to the embassy, we had a good relationship with the ambassadors there. And one of my sisters, her name was Clyde Davis, Cheek. He had a good rapport with the administrator to get the brother's name. But we had to sit down one day and we was expressing to them, how come we don't see no dark-eyed Moors up in there? Or we see these French Moroccans, the light ones, you know? And we requested that he should change his staff or mix them, put some flavor up in there. Seriously. And they did that. Next time we came back, you saw some Moors, some dark-eyed Moors up in there. I'm just saying how this works. So, I'm Moroccan born. So if you're born in Morocco, then you got to remember this too, Mo. The Moors ruled Europe for 700 plus years. Our bloodline is all through Europe. Are they true Europeans? A true European is blue-eyed and blonde hair. You see all these people with this dark hair and dark eyes, they got Moorish blood in them. Now, over 700 years, that's a whole lot of time. That's a whole lot of baby making. Whole lot. And as was stated, there's only one human race, but we subdivided into two groups, either Asiatic or European. But they put the adjective on the Asiatic. They say you're brown people, you're red people, you're yellow people, and black. So 3/4 of the planet is Asiatic. So now, we got to understand about this Moroccan who's born. Well, I would like to go to the prophet's literature. And we're going to walk with that to bring some clarity. Our prophet teaches in the 101 questions and answers that. Question 31. What is the modern name for Moabites? Moroccans. Y'all walk with me now. Moroccans. That's the modern name for Moabites. Now, as was demonstrated, you ask these Moroccans that, they don't go back that far. They don't deal with the Moabites. Because like was said, they French Moroccans, a great majority of them. And other nationalities are up in there. But we mainly deal with the French Moroccans. They don't deal with the Moabites. But regardless whether they deal with it or not, because see, you got to remember, this man has spread his lie all through the planet. All through the planet, and see all of them connected through the corporate side. So certain historical events, they have eliminated, they gave it a cover, and they bring you to a cloud. So they don't know all the intricate details about themselves, really. Really. So, but our prophet is letting us know that the modern name for the Moabite is Moroccan. So my question would be, if you are a Moroccan, what is your origin, Moroccan? What is your descent nature as a Moroccan? Our prophet gave this to us. We descended of the ancient Moabites. See, it's Moab, Moabite, Moor, Moroccan. That's how it works. Saying if you ask anybody, backtrack them. Remember I said nationality is validated according to what genealogy, and your genealogy is validated according to your descendants. Backtrack them. You say you're a Moroccan, give me your origin. That's how you deal with them. You're going to find out something. So, if you left here, if you was in Europe, and you was in Germany and moved into Morocco, what would you be? What would you be? Would you be considered German of Moroccan descent? Would you be that? You would be Moroccan of German descent because you're living in the country. You come out of Germany. You didn't come out of Morocco. You came from another place there. You see what I'm saying? So now, if you're non-Asiatic, and if you're in Morocco, just like if you came from China and you live in Morocco, you would be a Moroccan of Chinese descent because your descendants is not changing. You're just in another country. But you always give credence to the country. Like we are descendants of Moroccans born in America, turn it around, we are Americans of Moroccan descent, Moorish descent. However you want to play the word, always got to go back to the origin of the word. And then come forward. There's no mistaking there. And see, and like we said, these people been duped too. But see, to show you, well, I'm not finished with that. And even dealing with, you go to verse 34 of the 101 questions. What is the title given to our ruler in Morocco? Sultan. Our ruler. The Sultan. Now, just to show the relationship of the officials of Morocco, I have to share this particular letter. I've read it before, but being that the question was posed the way it is, we got to see that we are recognized over there. And let's see. So now, we're going back to that question. How can non-Asiatic individuals consider Moors? They're Asiatics, but they're not of Moorish descent. But yet the Moors ruled the planet. Our bloodline is everywhere. Remember, we're the founders of civilization. So what's that about? So let's see how the embassy of Morocco dealt with us and respected us and recognized us as Moors here. Speech of His Excellency Martis Uriel, Ambassador of Morocco at the Moorish Centennial Celebration honoring Noble Drew Ali, January 11th, 1986 at the Howard Inn in Washington, D.C. It is a privilege for me. This is the ambassador talking now. It is a privilege for me and for the other staff members of the Embassy of Morocco to attend this. The Noble Drew Ali Centennial Tribute Dinner. Please let me take this opportunity to express to you our collective appreciation for your kind invitation and my personal appreciation for having been chosen to receive the Ambassador of the Faith Award. I am greatly honored. It is also a pleasure for us to be in the company of such distinguished guests as those here tonight, and to be taking part in such a joyous celebration. We are happy to bring you all greetings from His Majesty King Hassan II and the people of Morocco. Now, even though some of the people may not know the connection, the high officials do. Remember that. Let me continue. By now, I have been made well aware of your devotion to strengthening the ties linking the Moorish American community to Morocco. Now, he's saying strengthening the ties. So if you're going to strengthen something, the ties must have already been established. You make it more tighter, better. So then he says, Morocco, for its part, welcomes your interest and your work for a better understanding between us. So as I stated earlier, this man has spread his lies about us throughout the planet. Wherever you go, people look at this black thing as such a negative piece of whatever. You're not recognized. But this man has told these countries, even when immigrants come in here, oh, don't deal with them blacks, them negroes, don't deal with them. See, they put that thought in the mindset of people here and afar. Okay? So then he says, when he said that he's welcoming the interest and work for a better understanding between us, right? So now he's letting you know if he's asking for a better understanding, something is not connecting. This is a better understanding, right? So what kind of understanding did he have that he want to make it better? You see where I'm going with this? And that's between Morocco and the Moorish community here. He says, I would like you to know that your efforts have not gone unnoticed. Now, see, we were dealing with the embassies. We were dealing with all of the embassies back in the 80s and 90s. We were in D.C. all the time. The Vatican, Saudi Arabia, Nation. We even got a letter that we sent to the Organization of American States requesting a meeting, which they responded quite favorably, saying that they would be glad to meet with us. Letting you know the mindset we was on, dealing with this national business. So he's saying that he would like to know that our efforts have not gone unnoticed, and your initiative is to be both respected and encouraged. So they're respecting what we're doing, and they are encouraging us to continue what we're doing. As to us, we in turn have every intention of doing all possible to make our relationship a vibrant and a special one. And why would he say that? Because he knows there's a disconnect. He knows. But with our involvement, our presence within that embassy and talking and demonstrating the way we have been doing, they realize we have become awakened. We are awoke. We have been awakened now to what the connection is. So now we giving them the energy of truth pertaining to East and West. So then it says, but for that goal to be met, we must also look to the future. Well, they letting us know that, hey, we're here today, but through these efforts that we are establishing between the two bodies, we're going to deal with the future and what's coming down the pike. He says we cannot limit ourselves to considering just the historical aspects of our relationship. So when he says that, he's letting us know he knows the history. Because he's saying that we're not going to limit ourselves to just considering just the historical aspect of our relationship. So for him to write that, he knows some history. thereby believing that good relations between us are a matter of faith. So we're going to make these relations better, be a good thing. Rather, we should understand our cooperation to be a living entity. What is that about? Our cooperation to be a living entity. We coming together now. A living entity, east and west. Able to grow and open the future. Y'all follow me? You hear these words? Able to grow and open the future. The man is a visionary. We must be visionaries. It is here that we can begin to recognize the importance of our children's role. See, your children is only a reflection of you. Teach them well. Teach them right. And they'll be and do right. It all depends on the change of thought. That's where he's coming from. Whatever advances we make, it is our children who will have to follow through. So whatever relations we have, how good it may be, we're not going to be on the planet forever. But what we've learned from each other is going to be handed down to the children. And it's up to the children to continue to bring it forth as a revolving door, a continuation of what truth is pertaining to the people. That's where he's going. And then he says, Morocco is awaiting your proposal. And we have proposals. We had it then because we were supposed to have a Moorish community back in the 80s, y'all. We did. The government was going to fund it all. I'm not going to get into all of that one. But the Moors messed that up. Shame on us. It's pitiful. Then it says, we are pleased and proud to have the Moorish community as one of the bridges between Morocco and the United States. And check this now. When you see that handpress of unity, that's east and west. So that's the bridge. See, we're coming with a foundation of what's real pertaining to our true identity. So he's letting us know that there is a bridge between Morocco and the United States. And so we have established the bridge to let them know that your brothers and sisters are very much well and alive here in the West, the far west of the grid. Then it says, and as a new voice in the network of our long-standing relationship, a new voice. A new voice. The voice that they had wasn't all that proper. Something was a little distorted. But with the relationship that we're bringing and the bridge that we are cementing, it's new. So the voice that we're bringing is about this truth. And by that being the case, we are establishing a network, and we're going to make it a long-standing relationship. That's what this means, y'all. It's all about us doing what we need to do, must do for the people, bring recognition and understanding. That's why it's so important to be in this movement. The world has eyes on all of us here in the West. But it's so negative because YouTube is global. We bashing each other. Back then, none of that was happening. That's why we could get through the doorways. None of this kind of stuff was going on, what you see today. No, no, no. So we got to revisit a lot of things that has been closed because of our actions and activities as we speak of today. A lot of us is in this Negro mentality. We niggas and feathers and turbans. And that's being portrayed globally. So you see the role that we got to play, must play to make it right. But we're going to do that because Allah is with us. Our prophet has given us a foundation, path to walk, to show the world that the light is within us, it's upon us. And we are bringing that light of truth for all of our brothers and sisters to see that I am, for real. So with that, Mo, I'm done. I'll close my demonstration for the night. Mo, thank you much, and everyone else that participated. I really appreciate the brothers and sisters for their time and effort to bring forth the commentaries. Thank you much, Mo.
Islam, National Grand Sheikh. Definitely thank you and appreciate you for summarizing our call and giving us the jewels and connecting the dots as you always do. Thank you much for all you have done, will do, haven't done yet, and what you continue to do. Love you much, National Grand.
Likewise, Mo. Thank you.
Indeed. Well, my good people, we have come to that time where it's time for us to begin to close out. We close the same way we open. Can I please have everyone who is able to stand erect, facing towards the east, heels together, toes apart, separated at a 45-degree angle, upper arms parallel to the floor, forearms perpendicular, 5 fingers erect and together on the left, and 2 fingers erect and together on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Ameen. Trusting everyone has a safe rest of the week. Keep safe, stay sane. Until next week's creation, much love and peace, peace, peace.